So I'm Dan, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit today. I know there was the title of Kubernetes in production at Buffer, or the more verbose title of Kubernetes was the ideal match of their globally distributed teams transition to microservices. A little kind of a monolith story to a little bit, but I'll probably try to, you've probably heard plenty of those, so I'll try to be short on that. So yeah, hopefully what we cover is going to be a little bit of like what Buffer looked like in the early half of this year and the previous 5 years that it was in existence, and you know, a lot of what still is happening right now, where some challenges still are, kind of how we got to that point and what we decided to do about it, you know, the plan that we did to execute that, and where we're at right now. So what progress we made. So this is kind of a story of like how a company our size actually started using Kubernetes and what how we're taking advantage of it. So yeah, we'll be getting something out of it. All right. So about me, I am the architect at Buffer. We're a social media scheduling startup. We build software, been around for 6 years, and you know, like scheduling all your social media posts across many different social media networks. So I came on as a front-end engineer years ago, made my way, was an ops-minded, full-stack engineer, and has now I wear the architect hat and help out with all sorts of things. So now I'm leading our journey towards moving away from our monolith towards service-oriented architecture. And we'd love any feedback, questions, comments on Twitter, DJ Farrelly. J's John, the middle name, not DJ. Or danfarrelly.nyc, you can find out more information about me. But without further ado, a little bit about our existing infrastructure. We had one shared gigantic PHP repo that started 6 years ago with our CEO committing through, you know, just lean product development. We never really got to, you know, really cut that thing down or change our approach, switch into many languages. We kind of just stuck on PHP 5.5 and just kept grinding with it. We deploy it still currently using Elastic Beanstalk off 6 different environments that provision each. It was a great workflow for us as we started. You know, depending on scaling, 33 to 40 instances. These are just like user-facing instances. Got more efficient over time before we used to run 60 or 70 inefficiently. And yes, we have it across a few different types of environments that handle different pieces of our application, but they're all the same code base. There's a lot of shared dependencies. So if you update, you know, some code over here, you're gonna have to deploy to 3 different environments, which is a tedious kind of process, and it takes a bit of time to roll all this stuff out. So that's what our kind of current infrastructure looks like. This is our team. Our team is globally distributed. We're fully remote. We have 3 people here today. One of them is based out of New York. One of them is based out of France in town. So we're 81 people. We spread around the world. So we have people constantly moving, popping in different areas. Some people, you know, are nomadic, and we have engineers. You know, these aren't all engineers. These are a mix. We also have people that are non-engineers deploying code. You know, whether it be different types of data jobs or just people needing to update static info on our site. So kind of have this problem where we're 24/7. We have this monolithic, everyone needs to be one place, but it's the opposite of our company. Everyone's distributed wherever they want to be. So we kind of have, you know, everything's really like tightly coupled. So, you know, this gigantic code base where if someone makes a change and doesn't realize that something else was changed before they merged into master, just didn't do diligence doing some testing, and our, you know, CI did not catch it, you know, it's inadvertently brought down another environment, you know, later in the middle of the night when that person's not even awake. They deploy something at the end of the day. Yeah, it's down to practices and making our team a little better, but it's kind of a little hairy, and it's kind of slowed down our development, our pace of shipping software, which is really like our big attitude. Our big thing is, you know, we want to get the code on production as soon as it's better than what's there. Really just helping our customers and really focusing on the customers first. So, you know, this was kind of not scaling with our team growth. We've grown a lot. Joined 2.5 years ago, we were 15, and now we're, you know, 80. So we kind of, we're kind of tight in the system. We weren't able to scale things independently. Our elastic beanstalk environments were identical. So if we had 11 servers in this environment, we're running 11 copies of the same thing. So if you want to add a service, you're getting 11 of them. If you want to add more, you're getting 22 of them. So yeah, a lot of these things just did not scale. It was kind of like, oh, we'll take care of it next month. So now we were kicking the can down the road, and getting a lot of deploys that were just kind of like people waiting on things and saying like, oh, I can't clear it. We don't have any ops people, so like true ops people. So all our developers are handling all our own deploys. So that's kind of like our situation, and we really didn't have. We had close to no logging with our entire system. Our application logs or our worker logs were kind of like non-existent. So debugging things for the developer who was empowered with deploying whatever they wanted. It's kind of a little bit of a it was a little hairy situation. So we've gotten behind a lot of stuff for a long time, but there's a lot better technology out now. We're smarter now. We have more resources on the team. So it's a bit of a challenge. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze. It's Patrick Swayze is this hotshot bartender who just is on contract, comes into town and just cleans stuff up. You're really just like, this guy named Dalton, as you can tell his demeanor, like he's just not fazed by all this stuff happening at his bar. The owner comes in and says, all right, you're just gonna clean stuff up, set it straight. So maybe you haven't seen Roadhouse, you should see it, but this is kind of what we need. We needed someone to come in and just like take care of the situation, just like clean up the situation. Well, what do we need? We didn't even just keep creating services very easily. We needed fast deploys. We needed, things happening. Anytime anyone, there was no bottleneck. Everyone was deploying to different environments and their own services and their own code bases super fast. We did need, we need to scale things, not in groups of 11, but, in groups of 1. We needed some more smarter control over our resources. We're just like not efficient about things. We're over-provisioned on the service stuff. We wanted developer and non-developer friendly. So our data, someone running a data analysis job can just go to Slack, right, /deploy my service. We had this great bot that would handle our deploys beforehand, but really we just wanted to match that, if not better. We wanted to basically be able to set things up super easy. We don't really have that many ops people, so we have some people who are kind of SRE types that can handle these things, but they're in certain parts of the globe and maybe not awake when other people are awake, so it's a little bit challenging. So we actually want to blog things this time. So we thought, how are we going to do this? So we ended up deciding we needed Kubernetes. We needed our Dalton to come in here doing some Tai Chi just because he's a beast. So we decided, we evaluated a few different things. Kubernetes is what we hoped would enable us to at least going down a better path. So, we had Kubernetes, and now kind of what are we going to do with it? It's pretty powerful. We don't really know, where to get started. We didn't have anyone with experience running containers in production. So we kind of set off earlier, probably at the beginning of the summer, and really just needed to figure out how to break this thing down. We didn't want to just create a cluster, and we needed to get people out of the old ways and get developers building new services and using, the power of Kubernetes and doing it, bringing up our team into 2016, basically. We also needed to figure out, what was the great things to migrate. We knew we weren't going to just kill monolith from day one, so we needed to start moving things. So we needed to also, get everyone up on what we were actually doing. So, we divided up our plan. We kind of said, gave different people different responsibilities to lead. We kind of made a small team. We had some ops-minded engineers and some, very different people on the team who had experience wrangling these things. And we kind of divided up the work. We had someone head up kind of, how are we going to manage our cluster? How are we going to do upgrades, whatnot? Deploys, logging, or monitoring. Had okay monitoring, not great. Creating, kind of defining these best practices to help adoption. And finally creating an Exemplar, which I'll get to. constantly getting filled in with different things that people were learning. We did have this, as I was talking about before, with a couple of people. We had this single Git repo where we were just like on a private server sharing at least some examples of what we could do. Maybe it wasn't the greatest practice, but it was it got us going. It got us at least sharing knowledge and sharing configuration for deployments and services, what we were doing. We kind of migrated eventually. We were actually sharing a common config to get to this to access this one cluster from our machines. And we finally migrated to service accounts, which is better than before at least. So we're still kind of learning our ways for our access for our cluster, how to secure everything a little bit more. We also, created a test cluster in Ireland, on AWS, and just break stuff, destroy it, rip down the master and see what happens, which was incredible. Just learning a lot there. So we tried out our first migration of moving from 1.2 to 1.3 very early on, just to hope that we learn a little bit. So because we knew with the awesome community and the project that is Kubernetes, things were moving forward. We knew moving fast. We knew that 1.4, 1.5 were coming up later this year. We just wanted to learn to take advantage of those as soon as possible. For our deploys, we ended up kind of just using Jenkins to build our images instead of from our machine. We set up something as smooth as possible. Jenkins is not great, but again, it's getting the job done for our small team, and it was something that we knew. So we're building our images, pushing it to Docker Hub, using kubectl patch just to switch it out. Maybe it's not great, our configurations aren't always up to date, but we're moving fast with it and getting at least, it feels pretty lightweight in the process. When we did Slack deploys, we first got some weird process that translated an AWS Lambda job that was triggered synchronously to then call Jenkins and tell it what to do based on what the arguments on the Slack command did. There were some challenges around that. It didn't really work. Now we built this little custom kind of bot app, which just has all the information on all our different services, all our deployments, and can manage all that as well as handle rollbacks. You can do Slack deploy / rollback my service, and it'll just roll back to the version as soon as possible. Just kind of really just trying to make it as simple and frictionless as possible for people to get out their deploys. We still want to keep our culture of every engineer being able to deploy their own code, as well as non-engineers. So, logging, we just wanted logging. We love Elasticsearch. We started out with the kind of thing that you can get off the shelf with Fluentd and Elasticsearch running on Kubernetes, and we kind of outgrew that a little fast. We didn't really know what was going on there. We used too much disk space. We upgraded to 1.3. kubedns was being extremely talkative and just filled up our entire Elasticsearch pod and just kind of it exploded. So we moved quickly off that. We didn't really know what we were doing, so we just kind of said, all right, get this, different solution. Tried a couple solutions, which brings us to today. We had a sidecar kind of pod, sidecar container that we used, which was pretty cool. But then we didn't want to run twice the amount of containers, so kind of went back to the Fluentd approach and created the daemon set log collector. So just a little about that. We sidecar logger, if you're familiar with that approach, we have a shared volume where your application container is logging to this shared volume, and you have a sidecar container running Fluentd or something similar that's just tailing this and sending it out. We were using AWS Kinesis, which is like a stream similar to Kafka. That they have a Firehose extension that puts it right into Elasticsearch. Again, for a smaller team, it was something off the shelf that worked really well. It was super fast, handled a lot of load, and was able to scale what we needed to. So we took that approach. Kind of didn't want to run all the extra resources, running a lot of containers. So we decided to shift and experiment with kind of something similar to the Fluentd approach, running it in a pod. We decided to use TD agent. So I guess it's kind of the Treasure Data's stable version, supported version of Fluentd. So we can handle that over TCP connections directly directly from the container or just logging the standard out. Same thing with the Firehose has been working great for us. Logging has been pretty solid. We've at least appreciated having logs for close to free now. For monitoring, we started off with the, we needed to make it easy for everyone. We needed engineers to just have their own deployment to actually be able to monitor things. Just, a few easy steps. Really just, we had all our engineers owning their respective services and not ops or, SREs really controlling and actually monitoring each piece and being able to work with them and set everything up. We need people to set up their own monitor, know what their metrics that they want to track were. We started off with Prometheus, which was super cool. It's awesome. But it's not as maybe easy on the developer as we wanted. We wanted front-end engineers being able to do this stuff. People with little ops experience being able to set things up. We started throwing things in our logging. Started logging Elasticsearch, created some great dashboards in Kibana. And then this great project, I think maybe at C, Blast Alert, which can alert based on querying Elasticsearch, trigger and send out emails or Slack or PagerDuty messages. So that was pretty cool. What we didn't have Prometheus is, the great dashboards for memory and CPU and other metrics. So it was a little bit harder to configure also. We had to update Blast Alert, and you had to know how to do that and send that out, kind of redeploy Blast Alert somewhere. So that was a little clunky. We ended up going with Datadog, cost some money, but for our team at this point, for the amount of developer experience that we had, it's incredible. You can get all these metrics, we can log our own metrics, so we're getting kind of the best of both worlds for now with a great experience and easy to use things. So it got us where we needed to go for ease of use with developers. You can get started straight away and just monitor stuff. So for the average, not ops-minded person, they're in there straight away and they're actually knowing what metrics they need. We started to also, kind of through this process, we had to figure out, what our best practices were on our team. There's a lot of documentation out there. There's a lot of flexibility in Kubernetes. Do it your way. And we kind of were messing things up and failing early, messing up labels and saying, we didn't understand the power of labels from day one. You can use labels all different, types of ways. What's a good way? What are standard labels that we should use on our team? If you're running a canary deploy, what type of label are you using to, do that? What can we use standardized in the entire team to filter things very quickly? We also had, secrets. You can kind of write it different ways, and how do you get it in? How do you put your, environment variables right there, deployment? How are you loading your secrets? Naming conventions. We kind of wanted to simplify a lot of that stuff and make it easy, so any engineer can just kind of read something and say, okay, this is the way that I'm doing this. This is going to get me there just straight away. Get it in production a little bit faster. We started building wrappers for our logs, so we all have the same structured logs. So every web server was logging in the same structure. We could reuse dashboards. We could reuse kind of all this stuff. So we started creating Node, Python, and PHP libraries, just like wrapper logging, and just make it dead simple, so everyone was logging in structured JSON the same way. We also, kind of had to go through and is this metric helpful or is it not? Some services it's really helpful to monitor, fluctuations in CPU usage, and others it didn't really matter. It was pretty consistent. So we didn't want to have people focus on the wrong things. So that was still something that we're learning quite a bit about. And all these best practices are still a work in progress. We don't know. We're still learning constantly as we're shipping new types of services in production. We wanted to get a lot of these things out, like I said, to really smooth process for other people to adopt. We want engineers to start using the power of this thing, get away from our old infrastructure, and just make it real easy. So we did that, and that kind of led us to how do we share all these best practices? So if you've ever read, I'm sure Martin Fowler's documentation on writing about microservices talks about Exemplar, and Sam Newman's book on microservices, he specifically mentions this and uses it a lot. If you look at the literal definition, it's an example. It's an excellent model that you can look to. The microservice example, it's something that's actually running, taking production traffic. It's doing a real production workload. And someone can look at it and say, like, oh, this is how it was done. They can copy how it works. That's how your engineers are probably going to get started. If you have 20 engineers on the other side of the globe, they're not going to look up and say, well, how do I do this? They're going to say, oh, well, let me just look at this example. And you really throw all your best practices into that 1, 2, 3 exemplars that you're creating. And we did that with the first couple projects that we had, and it really helped because we really we messed up and we continuously refined. So we have that as something that we can continuously look towards, and other engineers can kind of be influenced from. When it comes to all these kind of best practices that we create. So yeah, that kind of brings us to where we're today. As of who was using the cluster, we have a few different teams pushing all, creating different services each week, scaling up a little bit. We have 11 engineers and non-engineers. There's a lot of data people that are really have seen the power of putting their different jobs out in production so easily with these Slack commands. So people, I've had our data analysts really share how easy it is, how their workflow is just a little bit easier. And they don't really need to know that it's Kubernetes running on their teams. They just need to know that they have a Docker file that runs locally, and they can write their scripts and push that into production and see it so easy. So we're still running a relatively low number of kind of things in production. We're 120 pods, maybe 30 services actually in production, taking some workloads, some small, some scaled up a little bit more. We've already noticed my coworker Tigran, he's migrated services already, and he's noticed with better logging and better monitoring that he's become drastically more efficient in the project that he's working on. So we have people already reaping the benefits straight away, and better, the things are faster. We have more efficient use of resources in our cluster rather than having, our utility servers sit empty and idle for, at 60% memory usage or something like that. Really is just, something coming along and not doing any work. So, we're just kind of, like I said, continuing our best practices, and we're starting to put videos together and a lot of documentation so that we can share things across our global team. So people can get started and all be independent, be good, cluster, citizens of the cluster. We have different namespaces, and everyone needs to know about, I need to set my memory limits and my resource requirements, and need to know why that's important, and actually encourage people to really do these things, because if they don't know it's there. A lot of the engineers creating these services will just go willy-nilly, and their memory is just going to grow, and Kubla's going to be shifting things all around the cluster, and it's going to cause problems. So really a lot of documentation and education. So this is where we're at now. At the end of Roadhouse, when he's cleaned up the joint, Dalton kind of comes out. He's kind of got everyone looking sharp, and it's clean joint. There's no one fighting anymore, and he's kind of just calling shots at the double deuce, So, again, if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, all right. That's it. It's just supposed to be a little bit of what we're doing at Buffer and our small team, and we're not doing it. I'm sure there's plenty of places that we can improve, and I'm sure we're not we have a lot of learning to still do about Kubernetes, but our goal is how to take the power, learn enough as we can, and get it to power developers as soon as possible. So any thoughts or questions or feedback, I really appreciate it.
So just curious, do you see any cost efficiencies using the resources that are
Yeah, with the monitoring and that we have in our cluster, we've been able to see how much we're actually using the resources on each node in our cluster, and we can scale a lot more efficiently. So with the example service, we do realize that we were over provisioned, and changing some parameters were making each job run a lot faster. So with kind of our feedback loop of logging, monitoring, individual and service application metrics, we're able to make things more efficient, but then on the overall cluster utilization, we're way more efficient. So I would hope that when we get to move all the monolith stuff and all those small. I guess we're running M3X larges, so for the first graph. So yeah, we definitely way more efficient with the resources.
You guys had inspiration on dog factor methodology?
On what?
Dog factor?
Dog factor. Yeah, we definitely did. There's a lot of inspiration on that. Like you can see our best practices are definitely inspired by that, which is really awesome. Like, you know, it seems like logical that you would make 12-factor apps, but there's still a lot of like varying levels of skills on your engineering team. Some junior engineers might not really know. They may not ever shift a full, and when it just worked on the front end, they don't understand, you know, kind of the whole stick. So a lot of inspiration on that. Thought about just picking that up off, you know, and just sharing that with everyone. Definitely some inspiration, but we wanted to figure out like really in our words and our values of what we want to do in our engineering and what's important. So yeah, definitely that's really smart. Yeah.
How much is the microwave?
Workload-wise, probably depending on the metric, I'd say honestly 5 to 10% maybe, depending on what metric you're using. You know, traffic or just actual like consumption-wise. So I'd say 5 to 10%.
Over how long?
Over how long that we've done this process?
Yeah.
We started off in the experimentation phase maybe in probably July, and then the first like kind of production thing came on in July, and then it kind of took us some like learning bits. Probably once we got to September was when we were actually building a lot of services. So from that 1 to 2 like experiment services, we ended up going up to, now we got like roughly 30 services running since the beginning of September about. So yeah, I mean, you know, we also have a lot of like our product teams are still trying to ship on the old monolith and, you know, kind of still move the product forward. So we still have it split. Not everyone's 100% on it. Yeah.
Can you see it ramping quickly or plateau?
Yeah. The more it's a little bit manual, like kind of training and getting people up, but yeah, it definitely with some of the things in place. I think that's hopefully some of the takeaways are that with some of these things in place, and really giving these things on silver platters for a lot of engineers, it's actually I think increasing our uptake on use of Kubernetes a lot faster. So once some people kind of get the taste of it, it's just like they don't want to go back to the other way. So yeah, it is pretty nice.
Why so many?
Different purposes, different scaling. Like we scale our web server and our API differently for our previous setup or existing setup. We also have like workers that just send updates out to social media networks that do that. You know, 210 workers. There's like 3 boxes that just have setting processes on each, and all they do is just do the same thing all day. So kind of focused purposes so we don't need to restart. So at least each server has somewhat of a defined purpose. So it's not perfect, but it's what we approach.
Could you share some learnings on labels and secret? I mean, some best practices there.
Yeah, you know,
something unique to your releases.
I think some of the confusing things about secrets for someone, you know, before we had Elastic Beanstalk, you could just kind of drop your environment variables in there in the kind of like the UI. It's kind of easy to follow. With this, you know, you kind of map a secret to the deployment, and we just wanted to keep consistent naming. Someone would name something or put 3 different secrets in one big, in one kind of multiple secrets, multiple environment variables encoded in one secret kind of. So you load that in. It was like there were certain things about that where we just wanted to say like if you have a key and secret for say AWS or some third party, it goes in one actual secret. The naming maps directly to the environment variable that you're going to use, so someone can look at something and see it kind of, and not have to think, oh, I'm going to name this different, because you kind of scanning in the list of certain things of all the secrets kind of get a little hairy if you're not sure what you're looking for, and naming is different in each one. One of each, so like each engineer who was picking up maybe covered some of those out around on the board, someone out on the other side of the world, they can debug things much section of our an entire domain, like analytics, are all under one kind of label, and then they have sub-services that have other labels that we use there. So there's a few standard labels, and then there's like room for use other custom labels below that. So still something we're developing. Yeah.
Do your Elasticsearch for logs is also within Kubernetes?
No, that is a hosted Elasticsearch on Amazon. Yeah, we don't put that. Yeah, we haven't.
Have you tried?
We tried.
Yeah.
Well, we ran the original Elasticsearch in Kubernetes, and kind of just didn't have enough experience managing stateful containers. So we kind of just said, you know what, not a problem we can solve right now. Let's just take the hosted version and just keep kind of, moving on with, stateful services. So yeah, we'd love to try, but have not tried. Yeah, that's actually something that we're still kind of working on, and we're still trying to figure out how we're going to do it well. So, yeah, a couple ideas around that. Passing a UUID across every, message queue or event or something. So that's probably what we'll do. There's a library, I can't remember what it was, that I just saw the other day that I can share after. That looked pretty interesting, but it's still pretty. Zipkin or OpenTrees? So OpenTrees. Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, it's still probably something we need to figure out, But in the meantime, we're grinding on.
Yeah. Do you have multiple masters, and have you had any fail yet?
No, so we did a lot of the person Adnan who headed up all the kind of like the cluster kind of provisioning and like kind of just like had the test cluster to break stuff. We wanted to set up an HA master, and we used the Kubernetes script to provision our original cluster, and we haven't set it up. We haven't. So we have snapshots in AWS for our master node, and we're relying a lot on that. And it's not great, it's not pretty, but his assessment was like, I could do this, but it's going to be a lot of stuff, and I'm probably going to break a lot of stuff. But in like 1.4, 1.5, they say later this year, we maybe can get this for free. So kind of said, let's keep our fingers crossed. We're going to do this thing and try to keep our backups. And we tested like you can killing the master, and then everything was running. We're like, oh, okay, we feel better about this. But yeah, HA master, is something that like I constantly have to bring up and see if there's any new ideas. Yeah.
Kind of a fun cluster with federated clusters.
Not federated yet. We both federate, but yeah, not yet. Depending on.
Using production and testing the same cluster, or is it different spaces, or like?
We are for testing. Like what type of testing?
Like whatever you want to run test environments.
Like staging or something?
Yeah.
Right now we're using the same cluster. We're just using all resources together, all types of different people in different namespaces. So yeah, it's all shared right now. Yeah, the namespaces are great. We have our data team operates one. We have pipeline jobs and ETLs in another. We kind of monitoring namespace. We have the main namespace. That's been awesome. So yeah. Anybody else? Yeah, Beth.
So you had 30 services that you moved in 2 months, and your efficiency went up to how much? Did you say 98, 99%?
I wish I had a metric on that. If I had a metric like that, that would be the first thing that I would have showed you. I would have put it in bold. I don't know. I mean, I'd say one service would have maybe gotten, went maybe 18 to 20% more efficient just on one service that I can recall off the top of my head. Yeah, I'd say like that's just one kind of benchmark of like we were easily able to like do that. But utilization, I think we were doing a lot better. So I wish I had those baseline metrics, but we were just pretty not great at doing that. Yeah.
You mentioned namespaces. Somebody mentioned labels before, and different workloads run in different namespaces or different teams. I think I got that. Do you find a challenge or a need sometimes to segregate teams from each other, and do you do that just based on that convention, or do you actually have access controls in place?
Our access controls are not great for namespace. Everyone has access to everything who has CTO access. So there are plenty of people that just, their only interface with the cluster is via Slack. did. We valued it early on. It's really great. We kind of wanted something a little bit more off the shelf that would be more developer friendly. But I know we have Gabe's talk coming up soon. Hopefully for playtime. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of QA for that. So yeah, maybe we can call it there, and I'll be around. And please hit me up with any questions or feedback or suggestions on better ways to do things because we're learning every day. But thank you guys. I appreciate it.